Welcome to Autism ADHD TV. It is the place to be for parents and professionals. I'm your host, Holly Blanc Moses, the mom psychologist who gets it. We dive into all kinds of important information like behavior, social skills, and learning. All right, let's get started. Welcome, Phil Kennedy.
Thank you.
I am so excited that you are here. You are the founder of Stronger Than Labels Fitness, located in Cary, North Carolina. And Stronger Than Labels Fitness does one-on-one personal training, character development for ages 6 and up that have autism, ADHD, other disabilities, Down syndrome, or anyone seeking guidance with their health and fitness goals. So I'm so excited you're here. You have that niche that I think that we have been missing for a long time, because your typical going to the gym experience isn't always what our kids need.
Very, very true. Nor if they don't do an activity, they don't have anything. So this gives them their own outlet to look forward to and embrace it and have fun.
Absolutely. So such a great service that you provide. And today we're going to talk about fitness. And this is not exactly an easy one, because I'm going to age myself. It's not the 80s where you have to stay outside until the street lights come on, right?
No, those days are gone.
Those days are gone.
It's sad, but it's gone.
It's sad, but it's gone. We didn't have the internet, back then. So there were all these options readily available to have all this kind of stimulation and dopamine sort of coming in. So it was a very different time, and we have to make sure that we're looking at exercise a little bit differently, because, a lot of times we know with research, it definitely can reduce risk of illness like diabetes and cancer and heart problems. And we need to be on top of this, but like we were both agreeing, it doesn't always look the same as it used to, because electronics, they again provide a lot of dopamine. Kids are socializing online. It's hard to compete.
It's a different era this day and age, that's for sure.
It is. And I'm glad that we're talking, because exercise, being active, provides so many great things, such as opportunities for socialization, seeing other kids, hanging out, being able to jump into a group that's playing. Also, we know that exercise can help increase concentration and focus. There are some nice studies out there showing that if children are physically active before sitting down, taking a test, completing assignments, it actually helps them focus, and it can improve their academic scores.
No, it's true. It stimulates the brain. They've done that study, like you said, and it's amazing to watch the ones that, they're all over the place, and then all of a sudden they're doing something here, the focus and concentration is there, and you see mom and dad go, I've never seen that happen before. It works. And then it, like you said, it translates into other things later on in life or in school, which is pretty cool to watch.
It is really cool to watch. And improving confidence, self-esteem, balance, lowering stress. And we know that differently wired children often feel more anxious and overwhelmed and stressed. So that's a really important one for them as well. Another reason why this is so important is sleep. And you and I both know that many of our clients that are coming in, their parents are saying they're not sleeping well, or they have trouble going to sleep or staying asleep. And that can be for a variety of reasons. But definitely we do know that exercise can help with this.
No, it's true. And I've had that discussion plenty of times, where after a couple sessions here, all of a sudden they go, it's amazing. They're sleeping now, because they're moving their body. Like you said, they're so prone to their technology now and not doing much. So once they start getting physical, it's great, because they're light up and they're smiling, they're enjoying themselves. But their body may not be used to in the beginning, and they're sleeping a little bit better and they're enjoying it. And well, the parents are enjoying that too.
That is really cool. So Phil, I am not like you, and I'll tell you how I am not like you. I do not find exercise at all enjoyable. I'm just going to tell you this right now. I wish I was that person. I see people running and think, I love that they are doing this or finding joy or at least making themselves do it even though they don't want to, right? So there's something about that. We're not every person is going to enjoy it. So we need to make it fun.
That's a very true statement. And to piggyback off what you just said real quick, what's funny is about, I'd say easily 95% of the population doesn't like working out. Yes, they're working out. What's happening is they like the benefits that come from working out, not truly the running or the lifting. Like there's that 5% that actually enjoy that part. I might be actually one of those 5%, but most of the people don't really like working out. They like all the benefits like we were just talking about that come from working out.
Exactly. And I'm glad that I am not the only one.
You're not alone.
I am not the only one. So something we need to think about again is making it fun, because we are competing with electronics. We are maybe competing with, I'd rather do anything but exercise. But I think we think of exercise in a way where, and I know I struggle with this too, is it's running, it's lifting, it has to look this way, but really it doesn't. Right?
No, not even close.
There's so many cool, creative ways to do this. So let's actually talk a little bit about some examples, because I've had a lot of my clients' parents ask me, well, what do you recommend for your child? And really, I want to always let parents know and clinicians know and educators know it doesn't have to look one way, right? Every single person, whether you're neurotypical, whether you're differently wired, whatever that looks like for you, it needs to work for you. So it may be running and playing in the park.
I mean, it could be that, it could be, it could be the weights, it could be just walking. Some of the things we do here, like taking a stopwatch, for example, and you're holding it in exercise, you're doing, the sprints. We'll use that as an example. So they run, you time it. So there's your time. Now what you do is create a goal. So now it's something we strive for. So now we teach them about what a goal is, how we're going to work on it. And we'll, try to get faster over the week. And then next week, you time yourself again and see if you can beat that time. So now they have something to strive for. They learn what a goal is. And we work together and do that and work it that way.
I love that. And like you were saying, you touched on probably 5 things in just your statement alone. So I'm going to break them down a little bit. So it doesn't, again, like you said, it doesn't have to look a certain way. It could be throwing and catching. Our youngest son, something we'll do in the backyard is we call it Max in the middle, which Max is our big 9-month-old giant standard poodle puppy. Like he's just a cute mess. But what we'll do is throw the ball to each other, and Max is in the middle, and he will come and try to get the ball.
Yep.
From us. If one of us drops it, it's usually me. But it's fun, and it doesn't feel like exercise or this idea of exercise that we think of. So we can get really creative.
And there's your hand-eye coordination right there with the throwing, which is a key thing that, again, most people don't think of when they think of exercising. They think of, like we said, the running or, weights. And it goes way beyond that.
It really does. And moving our bodies and in different ways. We can do a silly walk down and up the block. I mean, it doesn't matter. It can be so creative. And, have them come into that process. What does it look like for them? What would something fun be? Maybe it is shooting hoops. Maybe it's going to the trampoline park, or if you have a trampoline in your backyard, maybe it's walking the dog around the block. Maybe it's playing Frisbee. You know, again, all of these different things don't have to look the same. Like you said, we typically think of running or some kind of very organized sport, which is great too. So being creative really, I think, is the most important. I love how you were adding in goals. So differently wired children often struggle with executive functioning skills. And one of those is time. It feels like they're never going to get what they want, or they never have enough time with what they want. And I think that everyone listening right now is saying an amen to what I just said. It's so true. So what that means is if we're going to go do something, maybe that is non-preferred, something you don't want to do, if we start small, it doesn't feel so big. It doesn't feel so impossible. And then it may be kind of fun. So there's never a wrong place to start. What if we're going to throw the ball for 3 minutes and then we're done and we're going to go back to that electronic? They've met that goal. And like you were saying, with goal setting, we know with executive functioning differences, goals are so much harder. They feel like we're never going to get there. Or maybe in the past, children have set goals that they didn't get to that goal and they felt bad about it. You know, I hear that a lot with my clients. Well, they say, well, I'll never be able to do that, or I'll always fail. And when we talk about building confidence, we talk about being able to look at exercise in a way that's more doable. It may just be a very short amount of time to start with. And that's exactly where you need to be if that's where you are. There's no wrong place to start. So
Exactly.
I appreciate that goal setting.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a big long-term goal, and that's great. Everyone should have one of those. But in order to get to that big long-term goal, you have all those small short-term goals in order to reach those as well too. So then it's a win-win combination, which a lot of people seem to forget about that part. They think long-term, and then all of a sudden they forget about it because it's just like it's long-term or it's too big. Well, it's not long, it's not too big. It's just you got to chunk it up a little bit. And small achievements will add to those big achievements.
Exactly. And like you said, there is that long-term goal where maybe I fit in my clothes that I fit in last year. Maybe
there you go.
I don't know, just getting a little personal here for my COVID-10. But really looking at, again, those short-term goals. And I absolutely love that, because when you're making those short-term goals, even when it is a few minutes, you can add on, you can see the progress. And that is a great opportunity to appreciate that you met that goal. And not only that, keep moving forward in small steps. And then that could go into academics. It could go into socializing with other kids. I mean, there's no limit to being able to see that goal being met and how that could be used in different ways in a child's life.
Oh, you nailed it on the head with that. That's so true.
Yes, definitely. So again, there are lots of different ways. There are, what I mentioned earlier, those organized sports that might really work well for kids, and it depends on what they need and what their interests are. What I found is that if you're looking at social skills and building on that, sometimes it's nice to just run up to a group that's playing tag or something where there's not a lot of back and forth talking at first, and say, you know, hey, can I join? And then you join them. And that's a great way to kind of initiate that social interaction, but also have lots of great fun in a way that works for that child. So again, there's not just one way.
Oh, exactly. Another funny example that I like using too is, and we use this here a lot, is taking a deck of cards and have fun with deck of cards. That becomes a very fun game, and it can become very short, or it turns into a very long game. But there's so many things you can do with that.
I like that.
Yeah, the deck of cards is huge here. A lot of my clients like that, but what's great is I'm able to change things up without them realizing it without them going, oh my gosh, it's so much change, but it's enough little change and it gets them moving, and they end up doing a lot without even realizing it. But the key thing is, like we've been honing in on, it's fun.
That is fun. Maybe I'm going to try that for myself.
Oh, I've done it with adults and they all love it because you never know what's going to happen with a deck of cards.
That's true. That's true. That's really good.
It's never the same.
It's never the same. And I think that's another thing too to consider when we think of exercise. Sometimes it does feel like the same old thing over and over again. And that could be a reason not to start, because it doesn't feel fun and it feels like forever. But when you're mixing it up, that's a really cool thing. And it may be a great way to provide some choices. And we know in the work that we do that providing choices and giving a child as much control over a situation, because they feel like things are so out of their control most of the time, that which do you want to do? Do you want to play Max in the Middle, for instance? Or do you want to take the dog for a short walk? You know, providing those choices that give that physical benefit is just another way to help with communicating a person's needs and interests, having them feel confident that their decisions matter, because
Exactly.
they do and they should. So I love the way that we're talking about exercise in a way that really helps kids in lots of different ways.
Oh, it gives them their voice, and any opportunity you can let them have their voice and they can use it more and more and more. Like you said, it's going to branch out later on, which is the key thing. And that's what we're trying to do with everyone.
Absolutely. And that's the way it should be. So I love that. Something when we were talking about timing, and something that I've used in the past that I hope to use again, as far as my own exercise, is the Time Timer Plus. Because again, we know that differently wired children really struggle with understanding time. And if you set the timer, which you set it, and it shows red ticking away. So even if your child knows how to tell time, to be able to see the red tick away and have it be visual is going to be so much more helpful. Yep. So if they're like, no, I don't want to do that, I'm like, okay, well, which one do you want to do? Because we're only going to do it for 3 minutes. Set the timer for 3 minutes and they can see that it's ticking away. Also, you may just want to sort of sandwich in, and you know me, Phil, I'm always referring to food when I'm talking about things. It always ends up being about food. So if we want to sandwich it together, for example, after that 3 minutes, what game do you want to play? What video game do you want to play? So they can see that it's not going to be forever. Plus, they're going to be able to see when they are going to be able to pick the game that they want to play. Exactly. Right? So we want to keep it fun. We want it to not be feeling like a punisher, right? We want it to be a great time and a great opportunity for even families to spend time together.
I've had that where they start working out here. Well, mom and dad are usually doing their own workout, but they gives them a common denominator and they can start talking, and every now and then they'll do workouts together. That especially happened during COVID days, would be you hear about, you know, mom and daughter, they worked out together, and, you know, they still work out with me and they would still do their thing, but there'll be times they can work out together, they can talk about it, and they were able to build their home gym together, which is pretty cool to see that it gave them something else to connect with besides just, you know, some of the other stuff out there.
Oh, I love that. Like you said, forming those connections. So good. There are so many varieties of things. We talked about how to get creative. There's, you know, stretching videos for kids on YouTube. I mean, there's just countless, never been more ways to take care of yourself, which is a really neat time. So electronics has brought some difficult things, but also some helpful things as well.
True. That's a true statement. I mean, but at the same time, here we are trying to get them off the technology. So you're like, oh, watch technology to help exercise. It's one of those things you're like, okay, it works, and it's great in a pinch, but if you can get them moving without the technology, use the technology as a reward, you're better off.
Yes, absolutely. So if you do need to start there, that's an okay place to start. But ideally, sort of getting off them, having some fun. They may even want to do it longer. right?
Oh,
Oh, we're done if you want to, but if you want to keep on playing for a few minutes, that's great too. And then we can gradually build up that time.
yeah, I've had that happen where they start off seeing me one time a week, and next you know they're coming twice a week because they're enjoying it, and they see the benefit. Well, mom and dad see the benefit from it. The kids, they're getting the confidence, and it's stuff that they don't realize it's happening, but we'll reassure them. Oh, bud, you're looking stronger. You look at the confidence that's coming out. So you reassure them that way. But now they're doing stuff without the technology, which is, again, the big thing we're trying to push, especially, again, with COVID, it kind of threw a curveball for all of us because now here they are on the computers all day long. And we're telling them not to be on the computers, but it is what it is. It was a learning experience for everybody. I will say that. But it's great to see them start off, maybe they do one thing and then they build it up. Going backtrack a little bit, how we're talking about time, I've had a few where we start off, maybe they lasted 10 minutes, and over time we gradually build up. They last their full 30-minute sessions now, and that's the huge milestones that I'll reassure to the parents. Understand, they last 12 minutes, and it's their first time. That's great. Don't look at it as a negative. That's a positive. They were here. And then all of a sudden, we start adding it more and more time, week after week after week, and next thing you know, they've built it up. And mom and dad, you have to sometimes reassure them because they forget. And it's easy to forget as a parent. And all of a sudden they're like, you're right. Oh my gosh. And you're like, yeah, they're doing awesome.
Yes, that's so good. And I love that. And I think keeping our eye on those shifts, right? Those small shifts that we can encourage them. It's interesting. My oldest son, he is a really cool kid. He is 16 and who's autistic and has severe ADHD. And he has been making major strides as far as weight loss and feeling stronger. And he is just motivating me.
That's awesome.
And he'll tell me sometimes though, he'll say, Mom, did you really need that second popsicle? He actually said that to me the other day. And I said, you know what? I really didn't. I'm going to think about that next time. So he's, gradually decided that he wanted to feel better, and he started shooting hoops just in the driveway.
Yep.
And he started doing it longer and longer. And then I was like, whoa, you are getting so good. Look at, you're making more of the goals now, or hoops. What do you say?
All the above. I mean,
all the above.
Who knows what they call it this day and age?
That circle.
I mean, yeah, I used to call it hoops and everything like that, but times change, and who knows what the internet calls it this day and age.
Okay, I'm just gonna say goals because even though that's completely not correct, I'm sure, but he's doing so much better and he's doing it longer. And he would say, my clothes fit better, or I feel stronger, and I can see that confidence build. Yep. And then a neighbor of ours, their grandson came to stay with them this summer, and they got to interact because said, hey, do you want to come over and shoot hoops at some point? And they got to be friends and practicing that back and forth, but also shooting hoops at the same time, which, allowed him to feel a little more socially comfortable. So, it's really exciting when you see those changes and they become more confident, really feeling better about themselves.
Especially when it happens organically and you're not forcing it. That's when it will stick even longer instead of, forcing it down their throat or anything like that. When it just happens organically, it sticks and it stays, and it's like, okay, they're good. You don't have to worry. And sometimes you have to pump the brake as a parent and go, they're learning. We all had to do the same thing, just in a different generation, but they're good. You just gotta smile and just enjoy the ride.
Exactly. I love that. That's a good life mantra anyway.
Exactly.
That's a really good one. I'm gonna have to write that down. Okay. So we've talked about lots of different ways to look at exercise. And again, it doesn't have to look as a specific way. It helps with confidence. It helps with academics. It helps socially. It helps to prevent illness. It helps with sleep. I mean, really, it helps everything, pretty much.
It's the natural, way of taking care of almost anything and everything without medications. It's amazing how it does that.
It is amazing. And again, there's so many ways to do it. And we talked about, short, small things you can do that are enjoyable in the backyard. It could be swimming, which is great for differently wired kids. Talked to lots of developmental pediatricians about that, and they all agree that swimming is just amazing for their body and their minds, all of the things. So let's jump in to what you provide, because I was able to take both my boys to come see you, and they were so excited. And the way, I have to say, Bill, the way you work with your clients is so beautiful, because they were incredibly excited to be there. They had so much fun, and it didn't feel like exercise or what they thought was exercise. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. So, I mean, as you said earlier, I do one-on-one personal training with ages 6 and up. So what I've realized over my time in, adults, athletes, they all get personal training. Why? To get better. Why can't kids? Why can't this population? Well, there's no reason. It's just no one's ever really done it. So I took that leap of faith and did it. And what I found by doing one-on-one with them, they strive and they kick butt. The attention's on them for 30 minutes and they can't hide, and they have to become themselves. And it's really fun to watch, because at that point, you see them work, you see them come out of their shell, and they enjoy just the time just being on them, which is the key thing. And with the fitness, like we've talked about, I don't make it just you're doing the bench press and you're doing squats. No, we're going to make it fun, whether it's we're going for time, we're going for a number of reps. It could be, today's date. And some of them, it's different workouts all the time, because that's what they like. There's some we're doing deck of cards like we talked about earlier, but I could switch to different exercises we do during the deck of cards. And now it becomes, fun again, because it's something new, but it's still something they know, because it's the cards, which is that physical tangent that they see and they can touch. But the exercise, it's new and it's not scary, which is the key thing. And lastly, but I mean, it's a safe environment. They come here and they know this is for them. They don't have to, share or be on stage with anyone else watching them. It's just, they're here. Sometimes mom, dad stay. Sometimes this is the 30 minutes. Mom, dad can just take a break. And that was my goal when I first started this, was to give the parents a 30-minute moment where you can just sit back, relax, go grab a coffee. It doesn't matter. Understand that your child's in good hands. They're going to be having fun. And that's all that matters.
I love that. And it is so fun. Like I said, I can say personally, I did stay with the boys just to see how it went, and they loved it. And I like when you say that too, gives the parents a little bit of a break, because when you are a parent, and again, I'm not only a psychologist that specializes in this area, but also a parent of 2 differently wired boys, 30 minutes alone is like a mini vacation.
Yep.
So not that we don't love our kids, because we absolutely love them more than anything in the world, but there is something about having a little bit of that time, knowing that they're safe, they're having fun, and you can go get that coffee, whatever that looks like, or even take a walk outside and be outside by yourself, right? Whatever that looks like for you. So I love that you brought that up too.
Yeah, that was one of the major components on the other side of, besides, working with my niche market, was for the parents. This is also for you as well too. And just, have that time, enjoy. And from there, you see your child just, flourish and have fun. Like we've said earlier, they start off once, next thing you know, they're coming twice, because this has become their jam. They love it and they're thriving off it. And you see them get really into it and you're like, this is pretty cool. And it's fitness. That's what it's about.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So tell us how our listeners and our watchers can find your website.
So the website is www.strongerthanlabels.com, on Instagram at stronger_than_labels, And then Facebook is Stronger Than Labels Fitness as well too.
Perfect. And Phil, thank you again so much for coming on and speaking with me today. I know that our watchers and listeners have learned so much, and you really have gone into how fitness can impact everyone's lives in a really positive way.
Well, thank you for the invite. I enjoyed it.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes. If you like this episode, please share it with someone. It may just be what they need to watch today. If you're a parent, I'd love if you came on over and joined our Facebook group, Autism ADHD Group for Parents. If you're a therapist or educator, come on over to our group, Autism ADHD Group for Therapists and Educators. You're going to find those links right down there in the notes. Thanks so much, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.
All content provided is protected under applicable copyright, patent, trademark, and other proprietary rights. All content is provided for informational and educational purposes only. No content is intended to be a substitute for professional medical or psychological diagnosis, advice, or treatment. Information provided does not create an agreement for a service between Holly Blanc Moses Crossvine Clinical Group, the interviewee, Holly Blanc Moses LLC, and the recipient. Consult your physician regarding the applicability of any opinions or recommendations with respect to your symptoms or medical condition or the symptoms or medical condition of your family member. Children or adults who show signs of dangerous behavior toward themselves and/or others should be placed immediately under the care of a qualified professional.